So when people look at my cat Toonses, they think he's really, really spoiled by me. He gets brushed every day, played with every day, high quality wet food, high quality dry food, bottled water. He gets brushed, he gets snuggled, he gets treats every day, and he is a happy, healthy kitty. And he's very loving and very sweet. But would you still think that I was a good cat mommy if I told you that years ago I got Toonses declawed? Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think you would maintain a high opinion of me after that. I would expect to be judged by that. And I've already judged myself for that decision that I made years ago. And so I wanted to obviously take 110% of the blame for this decision because it was my decision. I'm Toonses' mommy. It was my decision to get him declawed. And I wanted to make this video making it clear that that was a mistake in the hopes that I could prevent other people from making the same mistake that I did by essentially just coming clean, admitting what I did, and telling people not to follow in my footsteps. Don't do this. But when I really sat down to write this video, it became a lot more involved. And I decided to psychoanalyze myself and why I did what I did. Because I think the message is broader than just don't declaw your cat. Because obviously it's not what the other side wants. The message that I have to deliver is more psychological. And it has to do more with how to live your life so that you don't regret your decisions. So that your decision-making process is clean. So that you're standing in your personal power in your own shoes and not being influenced by other people. And really tuning into your head and your heart when you make those decisions. So this video is trying to explain what was going on in my life at the time. And again, I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to prevent other people from falling into this situation. Actually, I can't say falling into this situation because, like I said, I had free will. It was my decision. At the time, I was living with my boyfriend and I was extremely codependent. So much so that the other side decided to keep me single for years. Had me take classes, seminars, read books, etc. on codependence. So I had a lot of work to do to fix this and it took years, but the other side did manage to be successful. Thank you. But the problem is when you're codependent, you just collapse into your partner. You lose your sense of self. You don't have any firm boundaries. You just wrap yourself around that person. And so my boyfriend at the time wasn't really a big fan of cats, and he was living with me and saw what they were doing to the furniture, and he actually offered to pay for the declawing, which he did. So I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm saying I was codependent and I should have stood on my own 2 feet when I was in that relationship. I should have maintained a sense of self, my own wants, needs, desires, goals. I should have been Christine Pavlina as an individual existing within that relationship as opposed to wrapping myself around my partner. Now, a lot of times codependents want to break up with their partners because they lose themselves. Is it their partner's fault that they lose themselves? Absolutely not. Not their partner's fault at all. It's their fault for losing themselves. But a lot of times codependents will be like, I want my life back. I want myself back. I lost too much of myself. I'm compromising too much. Blah, 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 blah. And then they end the relationship because they want themselves back. When really, it was their decision to disappear in the first place. So their partner becomes a victim of their free will. So the partner ends up with a broken heart. So you would expect it to be the other way around, where obviously that does happen. But, codependents are broken up with a lot because they lose themselves, but then it goes the other way, where codependents want their sense of self back. So I was codependent at the time. Just a jellyfish. Just a jellyfish. Just going where the wind blew me. Can't think for myself. Whatever. I love you. You're up here. I'm down here. That was my attitude at the time. Another thing I noticed when I made this decision, I was depressed. I was chasing the dollar. I was considered off path. My career was pursuit of money. It wasn't pursuit of heart and passion and truly wanting to contribute to the collective. I was pursuing money. So money was all I had, really. And I wasn't happy. I was depressed. And because I wasn't aligned with truth and because I technically wasn't on path, it depressed me. It depressed me. I was just sad, turning inward, kind of withdrawing from everybody. Just not being my, happy, jovial, sparkly, shiny self. So I noticed I was sad at the time. Number 3, I noticed that I was in thinking mode. And thinking mode, obviously, is when you just focus on logic and practicality over heart. So I looked at this decision to declaw my cat as like, well, he's ripping up the furniture, so something has to be done. So it was like this logical decision that I made. I was so much in my head that I didn't tune into my heart at all. What about Toonces' well-being? What about him? What about, his fingers? What about his claw? That's it? Just chop him off because my furniture is screwed up? No. Is that humane? No. I was all up here. Where was this? Where was this? They say the most successful people in the world are, combination of thinkers and feelers. So when you're too much in your head, you cut this off. You're too much in your heart, you cut this off. Decisions, need to find a balance there. Otherwise, you end up like me. And you make decisions that you regret later. How many of you have broken up with a partner where it was just all, logically, this just doesn't make sense. And then you're bawling your eyes out later because you weren't thinking with your heart at all and you truly love them and truly miss them. They were the light of your life. So, combination of both when you make those decisions. Again, I guess, that is the toughest. I think this would be the toughest part for me, is the spiritual difference between where I am now versus where I am then. And I'm not just talking about my communication with the other side, where they're like, Christine, you screwed up. Because this all happened before I developed my connection to the other side. So I'm not talking about a realization that happened where it's like, oh, well, now I communicate with the other side, so they told me I screwed up. This is me realizing who I was back then versus who I am now, and the importance of really trying to recognize this in yourself. Because this is where you can really make some mistakes, some major life mistakes. So I don't want you guys to have any regrets. So pay close attention to this, tune in. Obviously, I'm an intuitive, so I encourage you guys to develop your intuition. So obviously, head, heart, and gut. So let's not dismiss our intuition here, guys, right? And obviously, if my intuition had been developed back then, my gut would have been bothering me, and I'd be like, oh, gee, maybe that wasn't that sandwich for lunch. It's completely checked out, tuned out. So that's another thing, is you guys also, this proves the importance of developing your intuition. Making decisions with your gut as well. So another thing is that I listened to the vet, because the vet told me that they were going to use a laser and everything was going to be fine, and it's not a big deal. So I listened to her. I should have done more research than just being, a follower. Just, again, jellyfish. There's my codependence coming through again. Like, oh, well, if it's cool, I guess it's cool. You would know you're the vet. Whatever. Laser technology doesn't hurt. He'll be fine. Yeah. Don't believe that. Don't believe that if a vet tells you that. Please don't. The divine knows better than your vet. Another thing is, because I was depressed, I was ingesting toxins at the time. Alcohol, sugar, caffeine. So I was living in a cloud. That's another thing I noticed. My judgment's clouded by what I'm ingesting. Not working out, not eating a healthy diet. The gas in my tank sucks. So that all matters. It's the mind, body, spirit connection. So my judgment's clouded and just living in a fog, drinking alcohol every day. Not the way to go through life. So that was really dumb also, you know. I obviously, you know, I'm not proud of that either. You know, and so this is the thing. When I tune into the other side, they told me, Christine, what you did was not good, and now your karma is out of balance with Toonses. Your karma is out of balance with Toonses. So you like, basically my soul owes him. My soul owes his soul for this wrongdoing. It's bad karma. And I asked the other side what I could do to help. And they said, well, what's done is done. But we want you to make a video trying to prevent other people from making the same mistake. And then obviously explain to them why you did what you did. And there's no excuse for what I did. But again, we're just trying to psychoanalyze the situation so that you guys don't, you know, follow the same path in any way, shape, or form, no matter what the decision is. Like, even if it's not just about declawing your cat, whatever decision, don't fall, you know, don't walk down this path. I don't want you to you know, be subject to this kind of stuff either. So why is my karma out of balance with Toonses? Abuse of power. I abused my power over him. I sat there and I was like, you're ruining my furniture, so it's a logical choice. But I abused my power over him. I was just like, we're going to do something extreme. Again, not thinking about him. Not thinking about him, not taking my power as his pet mommy seriously. Not coming from a loving place, coming from a selfish place. So, obviously, abuse of power is often selfish. So, yeah. Unfortunately, based on my abuse of power, that sent a message to the divine that I had lessons to learn. I had to grow and evolve as a soul, and I just broadcasted a signal to the divine. I have a lesson to learn about abuse of power and making heart-based decisions that, you know, focus on the individual and concern for their health and well-being instead of my own convenience. So, yeah, I have lessons to learn. And some of those lessons are hard learned. Another thing, I want to stress the importance of living an authentic life. Because when you are not aligned with truth, you are not broadcasting the signal that you are supposed to be. If you're not making decisions based in self-love and love for others, you're off path. So if you are leading an authentic life, you are less likely to make these dumb decisions. You know, again, I can't take this back, but if I can prevent somebody else from doing this, I will. I'll be thrilled. And, you know, as a side note, I want to add, because again, I want to take full responsibility for this despite the judgment. I had another cat that passed, and his name was Toby, and I got him declawed at the same time I got Toonses declawed. So I got two cats declawed at the same time. So now my karma is also out of balance with Toby and Toonses. And I want to make it very clear, because I am strongly disagreeing with what the vets are saying about declawing being no big deal. And obviously you could say, well, vets make money off of the procedure. Of course they're going to say that. I'm gonna make a blanket statement for vets who are, you know, doing it for the money or just doing it because they don't think it's a big deal, whatever their intention is. You guys are wrong. You guys are totally wrong. You're not aligned with truth. The divine doesn't want any cats declawed. It should be illegal. Completely illegal. It's legal where I am, but it should be illegal. Toonces did not show any outward signs of suffering, okay? He can't talk. I watched his behavior. I studied him closely. I'm going to be honest with you. Toonces didn't show any outward signs of suffering, okay? So based on Toonces, I'm going to tell you that I am following what the divine is telling me. That was bad and that was wrong. You shouldn't have done that, okay? Toby, and that's why I'm bringing up my second cat in this video, because he didn't really fit into the story that I wanted to tell, but I also want to take responsibility for Toby and use him as an example in fervently disagreeing with what these vets are asserting. Toby did suffer. Toby's claws were lasered as well. I studied him closely. He did look like he was suffering to me. And again, he can't talk. But I noticed him trying to sharpen his claws, scratching, and trying to sharpen his claws. And I noticed him whimpering that it wasn't happening. Like, I saw him getting really frustrated. Almost like, this is instinctual. Why aren't my claws coming out? What's going on? And so when I saw that, that's when I knew I made a mistake. That's when I knew I screwed up. So don't believe the vets, because you don't know until after it's done that you made a mistake. So you can easily judge me and say, well, I have a heart, Christine. I can tell you it was a mistake. I totally will take that. But, like I said, I can't change the past. I can only try to prevent other people from doing it. That's when I knew I made a mistake, is Toby was hurt by it. He showed signs of being negatively affected by it. So don't believe the vets. It's not okay. Declawing is not okay. Please do not make the same mistake I did. Please do not end up with the bad karma and the abuse of power and the divine telling you shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Don't make the same mistake I did. Learn from me. Learn from me, okay? Please, if you know somebody that's thinking about doing it, forward this video to them. I need you guys to learn from me. My mistake and this life that I was leading years ago when I was in marketing and codependent and alcohol addicted. Don't lead this life and don't make these dumb decisions. And if you, unfortunately, are somebody who is watching this video that did get your cat declawed, I'm not here to give you a shame shower. Because you have to let go of the shame. You can't sit there swimming in this shame energy forever. You have to forgive yourself. And then you have to approach the divine and say, okay, what can I do? I learned from this. What can I do? And just pray. Just pray. I mean, Toby passed. He had, some health problems that he passed from a while ago. But I still thought it was important to bring him up so that people could learn that they're not okay. Declawing is not okay. So please spread the word. And in the meantime, take care and be well. Thank you.